Hi, this is Vinny from Bangalore Scuba, and I'm here to talk to you about the Open Water course. What is the Open Water course? This is basically a first level of certification. This is a certification that you need in order to become a trained diver. Why do you want to become a trained diver? Very simple. It's only once you get certified that you're allowed to go to all the wild sites that are out there. These are the sites where you get really cool stuff like barracuda, sharks, mantas, and all that stuff. You can dive as a non-certified diver, but then you're limited to very shallow sites, sheltered sites, where the emphasis on making sure there's a very safe experience for you, as opposed to necessarily showing you the best of the marine life out there. Right? So most people that really get into diving and like the sport choose to get certified. Now, what goes into certification? The open water course consists of three parts: academics, confined water, and open water. Academics is mainly done via self-study. We assign you materials, you study it on your own, and you cover pretty much most of the things that you need to know. In addition, we also have an instructor-led session. This is about 2 hours long, and here we review some of the essential information that you've learned in the self-study. We also cover some topics in more detail, and we also talk about some of the things that you'll encounter in the real world once you're a certified diver. The second part of the course is confined water. This is the foundational part of diving. This is where you learn all the skills that you will apply once you start diving, whether it be next week once you go to your open water dives, or even 10 years later. So it's really important that you get your confined water your skill training done correctly. Confined water training, as the name is also known as pool training. It's typically done in shallow water. In a city, people do it in a pool. In tropical locations, sometimes they do it in the ocean, but in really shallow water, maybe waist deep high or something like that. What goes into confined water? Well, first, like I said, it's all the skills that you need to learn in order to dive. So you start out very simple. Just put your face in the water and breathe. Right? And then slowly, as you get comfortable, you build complexity and you acquire new skills. So by the end of the session, you're doing things like taking your equipment off and putting it back underwater. You're floating in the middle of the water without just using your lungs. You also know how to handle various diving emergencies that come up, and so on and so forth. So like I said, this is the toolkit that you need in order to dive safely and have fun. The third part of the course is the open water dives. Basically, you do 4 dives as part of this program, and you do them in open water. And open water is basically defined as a large body of water. Typically, it means the ocean. It can also mean quarries. It can also mean lakes, and in some cases, also rivers. In the open water portion of the course, you're not necessarily learning new things. You're basically applying all the skills that you've learned and showing that you can actually implement them while diving. In addition, you're also getting quality time in the water by actually diving, by doing 4 dives under the guidance of an instructor. So it gives you an idea of what diving is all about. And so it builds confidence. All the skills that you learned in confined water, by applying them, you gain more confidence, you gain more experience, you refine the skills a little bit more. And by the end of the program, now you're ready to go diving as a certified diver. Okay, what are the prerequisites for getting certified? Very simple. You need to be minimum 10 years old. You need to be able to either swim 200 meters unaided or swim 300 meters with mask, fins, and snorkel. And you also need to be able to float or tread water, just basically spend 10 minutes in deep water without assistance. So those are three requirements. There's also medical that you have to go through. We'll be sending you a medical form that you can review. If you answer no to all the questions, you're good to go. If you answer yes to any of the questions, then you will need a doctor's clearance before you get in the water. Now, let's talk about the duration of the course. The academics, like I said, it's self-study. It takes typically about 4 to 6 hours of self-study. And then there's a 2-hour session with an instructor. The confined water varies from places to places. Some people do the confined water in just one day for 3 to 4 hours. We take at least 2 sessions to do the training. Typically, we do it on a Saturday, Sunday. We can also do it on weekdays if we have at least 2 people. But the idea is you start at about 8 o'clock, you finish by 12:30. You spend a good 3-4 hours in the water, 2 consecutive days, and you really master the skills. This works well for most people. In some cases, you might need extra time. If so, no problems. We'll add extra sessions. There's a very nominal cost to it to cover the cost of the pool rental and stuff. But otherwise, you can do as many sessions as needed to become comfortable. What if you finish your skills in one day? If you finish one day, great. We still suggest you come back and do another session, because the additional session will always be useful. And the third part is the academics in confined water we do here in Bangalore, and that's what is included in our basic package price. The open water dives are not included. There are 4 dives, like I said, you have to complete in the open water, as in the open water portion of your course. These typically take 2 days. What are the different ways you can complete this? One, every 4 to 6 weeks we conduct camps. We do it in Netrani, Pondicherry, or any other diving destination that might come up at some point. So we usually go we do like a 3-day camp, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which has more than 4 dives, usually 8 to 9 dives. You can also come just for Saturday, Sunday portion and do your dives there. You can also choose to go do the dives on your own. We have tie-ups with dive centers in India and across the world, and we can suggest places where you can go finish your course. A third part is you can just go do your course anywhere. Maybe you have a vacation planned somewhere, maybe Thailand, maybe Indonesia, and in Bali or whatever, and you say you can go finish the course there. We provide you training documentation that records what you've completed. You take that documentation, walk into a dive shop, show them that form saying, hey, I've done my academics, I've done my confined water. They will do the open water dives with you and certify you. So that's the open water course in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please drop us a message. We'll be happy to answer them for you.